Joining me to discuss is Rex Nelson, senior editor at the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. He is a former political editor for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and was the Washington, D.C. bureau chief, as well as a former aide to Governor Mike Huckabee. Rex, good to have you with us as always. How are you?
Roby, always good to be with you. Doing okay. Thank you.
What was your reaction to the events that unfolded on Wednesday? Broad question. Give me your just overall assessment.
Absolute anger. I worked in that building for almost 4 years when I was the congressional correspondent for the Arkansas Democrat at the time, lived on Capitol Hill, lived walking distance from the building. I have great respect for that building, all it stands for American democracy. And to watch an insurrection destroy so much in that beautiful building that was actually instigated by an American president, I don't think it's anything that any of us expected. And having lived in the neighborhood and having worked out of the House and Senate press galleries for those years, and the deep respect I have for the building and again what it stands for, I'm still very troubled. I'm still angry days later.
You've written several times in recent weeks and months about the need for the Republican Party to break from President Trump, to reestablish itself. This insurrection, as you described it on Wednesday, did seem to convince some Republicans to start moving in that direction. Is this too little too late? Are we going to start seeing some revisionist history now of, hey, I was always against the guy, or I was always troubled by him? What do you think is going to be the the sense of political opinion shifting?
Yeah, I do think it's too little too late. And again, it saddens me. So I guess I'm sad in addition to angry, seeing that I spent almost 15 years of my life working for a Republican governor and then a Republican president. And it saddens me that so many of them coddled this man and played into this fantasy of a stolen election. And they're smart enough to know it was a fantasy. I mean, even in Arkansas, our own state attorney general and 2 of the 4 members of our House delegation supported the frivolous lawsuit by the clownish indicted attorney general of Texas, to their everlasting shame. And again, I'm saddened because I like them all personally, but that is an indelible mark that will never be removed from the record of Bruce Westerman and Rick Crawford and Leslie Rutledge. It will be with them. It will be a stain on their record as long as Arkansas history is written.
You're looking through the long lens of history here. I'm going to look through a shorter lens of history here. And when you look at just where the voting electorate is in the Republican Party of Arkansas, is that not to their benefit to be on the side of Trump at this point in time?
Maybe politically it is, and that makes it all the sadder because, again, you're putting politics over principle, which is a lot of what got our country into this problem to start with. And to me, that makes it all the sadder. I mean, Arkansas history will smile kindly on those who had courage when it took courage to stand up. I look back at 1957. I look at Brooks Hayes, and people like that are the ones that will be remembered kindly. We haven't seen many profiles on courage, unfortunately, come from our state in recent months.
As we visit, we are hearing the 25th Amendment being bounced around. We're hearing potential impeachment of President Trump being bounced around. Do you have a sense or a prediction of what may happen here in these final, 10 days of the Trump presidency?
With the days ticking off at this point, Roby, I think I would love to see the 25th Amendment invoked. I would love to see impeachment come out of the House and conviction come out of the Senate very quickly. I don't think it's going to happen. I think our best hope as a country right now is that we wall Trump off at this point and keep him from doing any more serious damage. The damage to our democracy is already deep, but that we wall him off, kind of like they did Richard Nixon. In the final days of Nixon, The great Bob Woodward book, The Final Days, lays a lot of this out. But Nixon was drinking heavily, and they just kind of walled him off. James Schlesinger told military commanders around the world, don't do anything that comes from the president. You've got to go through me first, or you've got to go through Henry Kissinger first. I think that has to be our hope at this time. Donald Trump makes Richard Nixon, frankly, look like a great statesman. I think Trump is far more dangerous than Nixon ever was.
So last question for you here, kind of lay out to me what you kind of have in terms of expectations for the Biden presidency and maybe the first 100 days. What type of repair work needs to happen for the nation? Is he up to the challenge? What do you expect, or at least hope to expect here as we go through this inauguration day and into the first few weeks?
Biden is a moderate. I used to cover Congress, as I mentioned, for several years. Joe Biden was in the Senate in those years, and I hope he is able to govern as a moderate. The danger in this country have come from allowing the fringes, both the far right fringe that Trump has played to and the far left fringe, have too big a megaphone. We need to get back to the middle in this country. And so I hope that Biden is not, frankly, pulled too far left by the worst elements of his own party, that he does govern from the middle. The appointment of Merrick Garland, who is very much a moderate, as our attorney general, I think was a very, very good sign. But some of President Biden's most serious problems are going to come from the far left of his own party. And I hope he has the courage and the strength, again, to be able to work with those in the middle in both parties to finally make some progress and start repairing this tremendous damage that has been done to our democracy.
Well, I think when you look at the numbers in the House and the numbers in the Senate, there's a pretty good chance that everything is going to be governed from the middle in this instance. So they're just not numbers to go do anything major on, I think, on the far left or the far right. So, all right. He is Rex Nelson, senior editor with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Always value your opinion, my friend, and I look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks on some of our legislative programming. Hide the women and children, all right?
Thank you, Roby. Let's hope for better days ahead.
All right. Thank you, Rex.